everyone, it's Unsung NPC back here finally with the first Prestige class video. I definitely had too much of a long week in between the wizard and actually getting this done. I apologize for that, but we're here. We're going to be cranking these out pretty much as soon as I can. I'm recording these like 3 in a day, so let's get it done. Yeah, today we're going to be looking at the Aldori Swordlord. And before I get into it, if you like this video or find it helpful at all, feel free to like and subscribe and stay tuned for other helpful videos from your friendly neighborhood Unsung NPC. So, Aldori Swordlord. First, we're going to take a look at what you have to be able to take this class, because some of these classes have a lot, and Aldori Swordlord is one of the prestige classes that has a lot of specific requirements, okay? First of all, you have to have 3 ranks of the mobility skill, 3 ranks of knowledge world, 3 ranks of perception, and 5 ranks of persuasion. Now, some of these skills are tied to the abilities of the Aldori Swordlord anyway, so they're going to be some skills that you want regardless. So mobility is here because there are some fighting defensively abilities that the Aldori Swordlord gets, and if you have 3 ranks of mobility, your penalty for fighting defensively to your attack will decrease. So it's kind of making you have that before you get into this, which I think, if you're this kind of fighting character with a weapon and you're utilizing fighting defensively abilities anyway, you're going to want 3 ranks of mobility regardless. 5 ranks of persuasion. This class has a lot to do with dazzling display and intimidating and demoralizing foes. So 5 persuasion is only the beginning of what you're probably going to want for this class anyway. Knowledge world. I don't think anything in here really requires knowledge world. I think it's in here mainly because that's one of the skills you get as a fighter, and I think they want to encourage you to take fighter as part of your getting into this class, because there are some benefits to being a fighter first, specifically an Aldori defender fighter first. Perception. There is one ability in here that lets you do a perception check against the DC to grant yourself a bonus, so perception's nice. Dazzling display, obviously, as I already said, dazzling display is going to be integral into this class. Weapon finesse, which is just, this is a dex-based fighter class, so weapon finesse is a must-have. Your dexterity is going to be the key stat here, not strength. If you want to do strength-based combat, I don't recommend taking the Aldori Swordlord at all. Okay, you need to be proficient with the dueling sword, and you need to have weapon focus with the dueling sword. Now, if you start with Aldori Defender Fighter, you will get dueling sword proficiency from the get-go. Okay, so if we take a look here, Fighter, Aldori Defender, you get weapon proficiency, dueling sword right out of the gate. Okay, so that is a quick way to do that without sacrificing anything. If you really want to be a different class first and dip into this with a different class, you can obviously just take an exotic weapon proficiency feat and then take dueling sword. That's the other option. Okay, so those are the requirements. All right, now this class has low fortitude, low will, and high reflex. Okay, so if you started with fighter, you get high fortitude, low will, low reflex, and then now this one gives you high reflex and low fortitude. Okay, so it's kind of a switcheroo on that. If you start with fighter, obviously you can mix and match however you go, but any levels you take in this class are going to increase these according to this, on top of what you already have. It doesn't overwrite anything or anything like that. It's not how prestige classes work. It's only going to affect the class levels of this class that you take. Okay? Base attack bonus is high, which is full BAB. So you're gonna have full base attack bonus, which is great. You're gonna have 10 HP at the start, but it's 6 health per level. The HP at the start, I don't really think that applies here because you can't start as an Aldori Swordlord. So I think focusing on the HP per level, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure, unless this is what you get for having the first level in the class, in which case, cool, 10 HP buff, but if not, it's just 6. Class skills: Perception, Persuasion, Knowledge World, Mobility. These will add on to whatever class skills you have already, okay? They are not replacing your class skills. You now have class skills from whatever class you had before, and the Aldori Swordlord. Both combined become class skills, okay? That's how that works. And anytime you take a level in this class or your other class, all of these skills are still class skills. That is the last that I saw this building a character state at. If that has changed at all, someone feel free to let me know. I'm pretty sure you just get them both, because I know that I've made multi-class characters before and I just ended up with like I multi-classed. If you multi-class wizard with rogue, you just end up with like every class skill because rogue is proficient with like every class or every skill. So there you go. Let's take a look at these abilities. Remember, prestige classes only go 10 levels, okay? You don't have to use all 10 levels. I like using all 10 levels when I choose a prestige class, but you don't have to. So their first ability, Deft Strike. So you get to add dex bonus to damage rolls instead of strength, which means you don't have to take any sort of weapon finesse training. You don't have to take slashing grace. You don't have to take any mythic feats that allow you to do it. Deft Strike will on its own allow you to use dex for damage. So if you're gonna take this class, plan ahead. Don't waste feats or abilities trying to get dex for damage when you can just get it here, okay? Now that is requiring you to kind of wait till level 6, because if you have to have 5 ranks of persuasion, it means you can't be until level 6 to be able to take your first level in here. That is a while without dex for damage, but I still don't recommend using another feat unless you want to like use that and then get this class and then respec, which just seems like a lot of work. This only works while wielding the dueling sword with either 1 or 2 hands. You can't be dual wielding, you can't use a shield, and you can't be using any natural attacks, unarmed strikes, or armor spikes. Any of that, okay? Display weapon prowess. So first, you get to add half your class level as a bonus on persuasion checks for intimidation. Huge. And then whenever you're using dazzling display specifically, you get a +1 to that intimidation check per feat that you have from this list. Greater weapon focus, greater weapon specialization, weapon focus, weapon specialization, and improved critical. So up to a +5 bonus on top of the half your level bonus to intimidation checks, giving you a pretty sizable dazzling display check. Demoralizing the shit out of everybody, okay? Defensive parry. Defensive parry gives you a +1 to AC against melee attacks when you just stand there and make a full attack action. If you're making a full attack action, that means you can't move. You have to stay put, okay? That AC bonus increases to +2 at 7th level, but if you have the Aldori Defender Fighter archetype and you already have defensive parry, then all of that will stack with this defensive parry, okay? So if we take a look here, defensive parry, you get 5 ranks of. You have 5 ranks of defensive parry. So this would give you +7 total instead of +5. So that's actually pretty huge if you start with that archetype. So that is pretty awesome. All right, next is adaptive tactics, okay? Adaptive tactics. So at 4th level, you can adapt your fighting style. You reduce an attack roll penalty for fighting defensively or using combat expertise, which give you attack penalties, by 1 at 4th level and 2 at 8th level, on top of the mobility ranks that also decrease fighting defensively. That will stack together, okay? In addition, when you attack, if a creature attacks you for the first time, you can attempt a perception check, okay? And if successful, you gain +2 circumstance bonus to attack rolls and your AC against that specific creature until the end of combat. Shatter confidence, okay? You attempt a intimidation check and demoralize targets as a free action anytime you confirm a critical hit or succeed at a disarm or sunder combat maneuver with a dueling sword, okay? If they're already shaken, you can, once per round, attempt a intimidation check to further intimidate them, and if that succeeds, then you get it's a -1 penalty on attack rolls and saving throws, and they lose all morale bonuses the enemy creature does. At 10th level, that penalty goes from -1 to -2, and it also loses insight and competence bonuses as well, which is really nice. It's only losing these for attack rolls and saving throws. It is not going to affect their AC. So if they have any of these bonuses to AC, that will remain. Okay, just know that. Saving slash. So at 6th level, you can try to negate the damage from a critical hit to a normal hit. You have a 25% chance of doing that. And just like passively. While you're wielding a dueling sword, anytime someone crits you, 25% chance to negate that and make it a normal hit. Okay, at 9th level, this increases to 50% chance, which is great. It does not stack with any type of magical armor special ability or fortification or anything like that. So if you have anything else that negates crits, such as an alchemist ability to negate crits through that one alchemical discovery that does that, preserve organs, it's not going to stack with preserve organs. It won't. Dexterous duelist. Okay, whenever you stand up from falling prone, you don't provoke attacks for opportunity. You're just like, slash. Great. So in essence, this is what the Aldori Swordlord is. Okay, the Aldori Swordlord is a dueling sword user, a dex-based fighting character, stacks well with Aldori Defender Fighter archetype, but can work with other classes as well. Pretty much any class that is a dex-based, melee-focused class, especially ones that can easier get you access to dueling sword, are going to be great for this class. Okay, they will pair well, very, very well. Like I said, fighter is always a good one to go to. And even like two-handed fighter would actually be a really cool combo, because you can use a dueling sword as a two-handed weapon. So that's really cool. I don't know. I actually don't think it would. I don't know if it counts as a two-handed fighter weapon group though, so that would be something that you have to check out. It does count as a two-handed weapon, but I don't know if it would count as a two-handed fighter weapon group. But it does give you bonuses to sunder and disarm, which are two things that the Sword Lord can do. So that could be good. Magus, I could see different Magus archetypes working pretty well, actually. Sword Saint would actually be really good, because you get canny defense, so it's a dex and intelligence combo. I usually pair Sword Saint with Duelist, but Sword Saint with Aldori Swordlord could also work. You just have to make sure you get the feat to give yourself dueling sword. Easier done if you're a human, because you just get a bonus feat. If you don't want to waste anything that you naturally get. So Sword Saint could totally work. Rogues could work. I think my issue with the rogue is that No, I mean, the BAB is the same as the Magus. I feel like you wouldn't want to use Knife Master, obviously, duh. But I think there are definitely some in here that you could use. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go Thug, you could get a bonus to your demoralizing. So if you wanted to demoralize in a more effective manner, you could do that. And you got brutal beating to make them sickened as well. So you're demoralizing, sickening people, and you can just you can still get sneak attacks. So sneak attacks can work with a finesse weapon, and a dueling sword is a finesse weapon. So I'm pretty sure you can get sneak attacks with the dueling sword. You just have to make sure that the person's flat-footed and whatnot, or caught off guard, or surprised, or something. So this could actually be pretty okay. This could actually be pretty okay. You would get finesse training, which kind of defeats the purpose of Death Strikes somewhat, but still cool. Still cool. And then don't forget, as a feat option for the Swordlord, there's Aldori Dueling Mastery, which gives you +2 to initiative checks, as long as you wield only a single dueling sword in one hand. You gain a +2 shield bonus to your AC as well. Although it deals slashing damage, you can also treat it as if it were doing piercing damage when determining the effects of weapons used by a duelist. So, lots of cool options here. I think Thug is a good one. I think Magus Sword Saint's a good one. Fighter's good. If you're going to do Fighter, you might as well go Aldori Defender, personally. But there's like lots of other options you could still use. There's nothing stopping you from making, like, you could do Slayer, right? You could easily do Slayer. You could do War Priest. You get a free weapon focus feat. So you could do weapon focus dueling sword if you wanted to. If you wanted to go War Priest, you could probably make that work. Lots of cool options for the Aldori Swordlord. So yeah, that's the Aldori Swordlord. Check out those archetypes I suggested and see if any of them work towards your playstyle, or if you have any of your own ideas, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. I love discussing these kinds of combinations with people. I love multi-classing. I love multi-classing into prestige classes, so I think it's fun to kind of work out what everybody's doing. Yeah, cool. If you liked it, if it was helpful to you, like I said, like, subscribe. And now you can also check me out on Twitch, is where I'm streaming, and we are currently streaming an Evil Wrath run where we are going to be playing a demon mythic path going into Swarm that walks, and we will be going into the Inevitable Excess DLC once that comes out. So that's going to be very exciting. You can check it out on Twitch. The Twitch link will be in the description below, and give me a follow and, you know, help support both channels. If you want to. Yeah, cool. I'm once again PC, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.